friends, are you, like me, wondering what it means to be the church in this time of social distancing? Well, here is a thought for the week. Last week, I was chatting with my former pastor at the church I grew up in, and I was wondering out loud what it meant for us to be the church in these changing times. And he gave me some good advice. You see, I, as a pastor, work for the church. And the church as an institution has tried for many years to bring the people of God, Christians, believers, and those who are questioning and searching together. And what happens when we bring each other together is that we create this united body that together can be a witness to the world. And so when the world sees the church together in worship and also in witness, the hope is that they are drawn to the life of Jesus. Well, something's happened in our world in the past few months that has torn away the institutional structure that we know as church. And that, of course, is the COVID virus. And that has led us to a time of social distancing. We find ourselves spread out. And the mechanisms that used to hold the church together just aren't doing it anymore. And in fact, we are dispersing ourselves and doing social distancing for the sake of our communities and the vulnerable in our midst. So what does it mean for us to be church in this time? To be honest, I don't know what this means and what the future of the church holds. But what I do know is that the church is actually the people. It's never been the institutional structure that has held the people together. And now that this institutional structure is looking so different, that doesn't mean that the church is gone. The church is dispersed and it looks very different than it used to be. And the way we do church is going to look different for the foreseeable future. And so what can we do when we are scattered in all our different communities and neighborhoods and homes? This is where I was encouraged by my former pastor's advice. That is that each of us as believers, as followers of Jesus, have not given up our call to love the Lord our God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love our neighbor as ourselves. And wherever we find ourselves dispersed today, we have neighbors all around us. And so yes, we have canceled a lot of things at church. And people who are searching for answers about faith or about life no longer have this structure, this building to go to on a Sunday morning. And we don't have the same kinds of programs that are bringing us all together. But as a dispersed people of God, we have this unique opportunity now to lean into the relationships around us and to love our neighbors in new and unique ways. So imagine what that might look like for one person in their neighborhood to take some time to get to know their neighbors. And maybe they'll find that there is some people who are vulnerable in their midst, who they can serve or check in on. And what if somebody else did that in their neighborhood, and in their neighborhood, and their neighborhood, and all around, all of a sudden, we have this dispersed group of believers who are reaching out in their own spheres of influence. Really, what we're talking about is what the church has been all along, and what the early church teaches us as well. And the early church didn't have these institutional structures. They didn't have church buildings. All the early church was people sharing the good news of Jesus Christ to the people around them. So I want to encourage you today that even though we are dispersed and the church structure, the programs, the buildings aren't holding us in the same way that they used to, we still have the call to be the light of the world, to be the salt of the earth, to love and reach out to our neighbors and to witness to them about the love of Jesus Christ. So I don't know what that's going to look like for you, but as you go into the rest of your day and this week, may the peace of Christ be with you. And so as we figure out this new way of doing church, and as we go, as you go into this week and this